Well, we're now joined by Jan Pospisil, a Sudan affairs analyst and associate professor of peace and conflict resolution at Coventry University. And thank you for talking to us. Would you go as far as saying the international community is indifferent in its response to the atrocities in the Horn of Africa?
I mean, indifferent is a hard word, but of course, at the moment, the attention is elsewhere. There have been attempts of humanitarian relief, but it is incredibly difficult given the situations on the ground. The main issue in Sudan is that most of the relief efforts run through Port Sudan, and from Port Sudan, you have physically hardly any chance at the moment to go to the west of the country. So I hear that Tplf and other humanitarians try to supply basically through Chad, even coming from Cameroon, procuring food in Cameroon and then driving through Chad. It's an incredibly expensive operation. And what happened not even 2 weeks ago, that basically all the WFP storage facilities were looted by the RSF. So at the same time, it doesn't work to supply through South Sudan. So the situation is incredibly difficult on the ground.
And Jan, the African Union, ECOWAS, the United Nations, the US, where does the responsibility actually lie?
I mean, to be fair, the solution in Sudan, if there will be any solution, is first and foremost the responsibility of the Sudanese parties involved. So it's hard to see that diplomatic pressure at the moment would really change so much to get these parties to an agreement. There has been a lot of movement over the last weeks, especially over Christmas and New Year. There have been negotiations ongoing. So IGAD, African Union, they take the responsibility. There have been these negotiations in Addis between Hemeti, the Rapid Support Forces, and Hamdok, the former prime minister. There have been negotiations in Nairobi going on. And there is quite a diplomatic movement at the moment. The problem is that the situation on the ground is at the moment not necessarily yet favorable for a deal. And also, I mean, and this is the second problem here, the diplomatic international actors are not necessarily on the same page, with the US and Saudi Arabia running a parallel initiative basically to what IGAD and the African Union are doing. So, of course, there could be more done to harmonize and basically unify the ongoing initiatives.
And Jan, in Sudan, fighting broke out between the Sudanese army and the Rapid Support Forces last April. The Rapid Support Forces, a restructure, of course, of the Janjaweed militia. They've been accused of an ethnically targeted campaign of violence. Is that now sparking fears of a new genocide in the region as a whole?
I mean, we have to see the Rapid Support Forces of today, they come out of the Janjaweed, but they are not anymore the Janjaweed. So I would not necessarily think that there will be a genocide happening as such, or is the aim of the RSF. The problem is that they don't have necessarily control over all of their commanders. There's always commanders going rough, basically. The same is to be said about the Sudanese armed forces, the allied Arab militias. So the problem is more that on the ground, things get out of control and then spin along basically ethno-political lines. I don't think there will be a targeted attempt of the RSF against other groups, but it is more like, can they control, or the commanders, can they control what is going on the ground? And there can be a lot of really bad things happening.
Jan, thank you very much for your time this evening. Jan Pospisil, Sudan affairs analyst, speaking to us there. Thank you.